Hello everybody and welcome to The Path of Achra, or just Path of Achra. This is a little game that I've been trying to cover as much as possible on this channel because I think it's criminally underrated. By that I mean it has almost 100% positive reviews on Steam. I think it's sitting at 99% positive, and it's possibly one of the most interesting and innovative little roguelikes I've played in recent memory. It's a build crafting game, theory crafting game, about building weird builds and characters, and setting up as curious or exciting a build as possible to create a, let's just say, nightmare combination of cool spells. It's a game about stacking passives and putting things on things to build cooler, bigger, more insane combinations of things to make things explode more effectively. Now, I've made several videos of this game in the past, as well as 2 interviews with the developer, so if you search through this channel, I'm sure you can find them. But I would like to show off a build that I think is absolutely hysterical, that the developer has actually stated he needs to rework because he doesn't quite like how it ends up playing through. So before it gets changed, I just would like to show it to you. Now, my way of building this build is by using the skeleton, the summoner, and the god Formus. So this is a game about culture, class, and religion. Your culture is kind of like your character species, so you could be like an ice person, you could be like a lava person, or just a skelly man, because skeleton is the best culture. Class is kind of your, like, it gives you a set of either on stand or on step or on prayer or on Alli Death attacks. I could actually use the warlock class for this as well, which may also be kind of hysterical, but we're just going to stick with the summoner class. You know, suddenly now I'm tempted to, you know what, let's try a gamble. Let's try this with the warlock class instead, because the entire point of this is summoning as many dudes as possible. And, you know, it may also be smart for us to go with something a little bit more logical for this, like, you know, perhaps the Achra, which, on being dealt damage, apply 3 berserk to yourself. So if we take damage, we're going to apply some berserk. So our starting build is, we are a Achra, which is a brutish exile of the inland forests that can awaken the feared berserker gang, followed by a volatile sorcerer devoted to prayer and death, and then lastly the god Formus, which gives us a little bit of extra life, a little bit of extra willpower, and on game turn, if enemies live, summon a random ant familiar. So we're basically going to be summoning an anthill as we exist. Now, this is a game where for certain builds, you'll be doing a lot of tactics. You'll be moving a lot, bumping into things, your normal roguelike affair. However, for other builds, it's a lot of waiting and timing abilities. Another thing that the god gives you is, or your religion gives you, is it gives you 3 prayers. These are 3 different activatable spells, which will be unlocked as the run goes on. Another thing that I also failed to mention before we got into this screen is at the bottom, there is a little bit of meta progression for this game. As you finish runs and gain XP, that goes into kind of an overall currency in the game, which unlocks you classes and characters as you're playing. Every time you beat the game, it unlocks a new cycle. The cycle makes some enemies harder and makes the game more bullshit, shall I say. These cycles are infinitely beatable and just progressively get harder as time goes on. I'm sure there's an upper cap for them, but I haven't seen the maximum cycle. As for the benefit of playing on a harder cycle, you earn experience faster and unlock things quicker. But because the developer of this game is also a poet, I'm going to read their little bit of lore that they've attached here. O Achra, land of pain, thy hurried step, the path is draped over the land. Take a silver cord as Formus threads it, and may it slump heavy. With jewels of glory, O pilgrim, praise Formus. Beneath this star-swarmed night. Verses of Achra. Fragment. Welcome to the Path of Achra. So for this build, I'm going to be leveling up willpower a whole lot. Strength and this is all pretty self-explanatory as far as I'm concerned, but vigor is kind of the thing that you use if you're about to die and you just got to level up and you're like, man, I need to save myself. Now, for this particular build, we're going to be summoning stuff. So all I'm really going to be doing is hitting the wait button a whole bunch. Now, the wait button is going to allow my dudes to move forward and attack enemies and finish the map 1 tile at a time. My little ants here are going to continue spawning out of me, but I can move with WASD or alternatively with the mouse. If I click on my character, it'll act as waiting. And now I can click on this and I can show you our skill trees. We can select 3 skill trees for this. Now, because I'm playing a specific funny build, I kind of have some things in mind that I'm going to grab. But the way this works is you select up to 3 skill trees by just simply picking ability and learning it, and then you start stacking skills on skills on skills until you work your way towards one of these like end paths. So these are your prestige classes. They are the classes that you earn once you get enough points in a certain tree, which gives you even bigger power-ups and more passives, and it's just entertaining. But we are going to start off here with the Grove Cult. Now, the Grove Cult summons a number of Grove Priests. On summon, we heal ourselves. So it heals me and also summons some priests. So those are our Grove Priests here. The next thing I'm going to grab is I'm going to grab the Gore Cult. The Gore Cult summons summons some Gore Priests, the Blood Priests. Now, they deal 15 blood damage to me when spawned, okay? But I also take the heal from these guys. So this is where the stacking begins. We're going to grab the Gore Cult. And I take some damage. I can hit tab to jump directly into the exit or just click on the exit. I'm going to grab my willpower, and I'm going to start waiting. We're going to see what our cultists do. Can just sit here and let them do their thing. Also, we're going to be occasionally summoning our other dudes. And I take a little bit of damage and immediately heal, as you can see. So I think our next path is going to be, we're going to need to level up the Grove Cult a little bit. Now, the problem with this build, and as the developer has stated to me, even though we're playing with fast mode on, it gets very slow. So this particular build, the reason it needs a rework is because it's going to be extremely slow. And you'll see what I mean once we get into like the actual endgame portion when a lot of things start spawning, because we're not even at that point yet. And I'm probably not going to play through the entire run of this. I just kind of want to show you just the insanity that is the silliness of this hysterical build. All right, so stuff continues spawning in, and this the beauty continues. And we don't quite have enough to pick up another cult yet, but we're going to grab the Flame Cult as soon as we have the opportunity to. So I'm just going to hit the wait button a bunch of times and let the Gore Priests do their thing, and then we can pick up this new staff. So this new staff is an Earth Staff. Our current staff is a just a normal staff. On entrance, it summons 3 Bleeding Dead. This one on standstill deals 3 blunt damage to all units in a 4-tile range, which is going to damage my own dudes, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think I'm going to throw this into my offhand so that we can just have both. But we also have this spear. What's this spear do? On attack, deal ice damage. No, thank you. We're going to now jump over into the next level. So now you get to see the overworld. Now, these are varying levels of difficulty. The towers are kind of like boss fights. These little forbidden places, these little ruins, they're like one-off very hard levels, which give you better gear. And you get this lovely little bit of writing, which also shows you the loot you're going to get, as well as the enemies approximately that you'll be fighting. So let's read about the Dune Sea. You gaze upon the Dune Sea. The rocks are smeared with dung. A terrible stench. The Achra guards raid here. You will find a painted duelist's round shield, an icon of sacred astral wonders. So that's the icon and that's the shield. And then same for this lower half, where there's this lizard visage. I think we're going to head south because you sense a rumor of marauders, adorned in gold, bramble priests wander here. You will find a heavy mask containing a spirit of a lizard and a heavy chest plate enchanted in gold. I want the spirit of the lizard. So we're going to stand here and we're going to let our dudes spawn, and then stuff's going to start happening, and I'm damaging them already. Now, this damaging of my own dudes might be a negative for right now, so maybe we should remove that. However, I do want to hang on to it because some enemies will actually, let's just say, if my own units are dying, there are certain spells I could get that could potentially just do damage to enemies. So my own guys dying may actually be a benefit to me. Let's see if we can find a build to make this work, in fact, because I may actually be able to do this. Although my ants seem to be doing enough work to make sure that we don't die, which is good for us. Of course, I do also have this, which per allied ant, you summon a random ant familiar, so I can get 2 ant familiars. 2 more ants appear. That's my 1 spell, and then we can jump out. Now, let's take a peek. So I've got things like this. On enemy death, you heal yourself. All right. What about on ally death? On ally hitting an enemy, you deal 100 death damage to the target. That could be useful. What about something like this? On being attacked, on hit, per skill level, on standstill, on adjacent hit, there has to be something that we could do. I could set it so that I could take an astral option, and we could go for the star cult, because this is an option if I go into the astral tree, which, you know, does this. Of course, there's something like this. On a hit, deal or heal myself. So I could heal myself more by damaging my allies, but, you know, frankly, let's I think go with the death cult here, and I'm going to remove this earth staff for the time being. I may reinstate it in the future. So now we have the death cult as well, and of course, worth noting that the death cult on entrance summon a number of blight priests, I can read, and then deal death damage in a path to the enemy on Alli Death. So, on Alli Death, I'm now going, if I were to be using this staff on Alli Death, we do damage to the enemy. Now, we have this this lizard visage, so if my chest piece is empty, we will gain minus 50 dodge and minus 50 speed. However, double hit points gained from strength, and double dealt damage bonus gained from willpower. And on kill, if chest armor is empty, we heal 50, which could be horrible for us, but I want to try it anyway. And there's something else I need to check here. So because this is what we're actually going towards, we need 20 points in any cults in order for this to work. So I have 5 plus 4 plus 4. We need to level up some abilities before this is really going to start to show its true strength. So we're going to be a little cautious for now. We're actually going to go up north first, and then we're going to wait. I'm going to go around the first boss. Now, the reason I'm leveling up willpower is this number goes up. This number is the number of summoned allies I can have. So willpower powers up my allies and increases that. And as I wait here, my Earth Staff is going to damage my units, which is killing enemies across the map, which is very, very effective here. So I simply wait, and then, oh look, everything takes damage. Oh look, everything takes damage. Done. Magical. So now we can just keep moving forward. So we're quite strong now. I'm a little bit ambitious, should I say. We're just going to wait until we have a few more points to level stuff up. I can, of course, summon ant familiars if need be, and I can just continue sitting here waiting, killing my own units, healing from my own units as they spawn, and also dealing blood damage to everything everywhere in the map, and as I do damage, killing the remainder of them. Very, very, very effective, frankly. What's funny is we're actually fighting against these guys right now, and they are very weak to death, so they're dying even faster. Look at this. So as a game about stacking passives on passives, Path of Achra is endlessly entertaining to me. I will say that it has a demo, which is obviously a demo, but the saves do transfer over, so if you want to try this game, even though it's quite cheap, it's $10, you can in fact get quite a bit done by simply trying out the demo. There's a bunch of rats that are very close to me, which is a little sketchy, but that's fine. We are clearing them pretty quickly. As I deal damage to stuff, stuff is dying on the other side of the map. Awesome. So we are moving through one of the boss towers right now, which is actually doing quite well for us. I'm very happy I found this staff. This has like completely become a boon to this build. Stuff is continuing to just repeatedly fall over, and we move up to the top. Awesome. Continuing forward, I'm going to just hit the wait button. A bunch of damage goes out. A bunch more bleed and death damage. Even better. I can level up willpower. We have 5 points I can spend. So I think I'm gonna level up the Grove Cult. Because that's one of my main heals right now, and frankly, I think that we should just have more of them. And then after that, I think we're going to level up the Death Cult, probably, because that's my long-distance damage right now. Same with the Blood Cult. But the Grove Cult, when they show up, is a massive heal, and that is very helpful. And us not getting hit is like the only way that we live here, because if we get hit, we're going to die pretty quickly, because our character itself is quite weak. So it's a matter of positioning. So we have the Cave Worm. This is a boss creature. The cave worm is a titanic worm that curves and tunnels beneath the world. This is a boss creature for this zone. It summons 4 brungles, which I will kill pretty quickly. It's very weak to ice. It does resist fire, but it doesn't resist blood or death damage, which is good. It's quite close to us. It's right here, but fortunately, nothing can actually hit us from where it is. So we should be okay. So let's wait. Apparently we're standing on an item pickup, so let's wait and see how much damage we do to it. not bad so far. I'm maybe going to need to move back a little bit here because it seems my minions have passed pretty quickly. We do actually have a charge of a second spell, which is charge with an adjacent, when an adjacent ally is damaged by an enemy. So when an adjacent ally is damaged by an enemy, we get charges of that, and it grants us 100 speed plus 100 hit to allied units. So I'm going to use that, and then the second one, I probably should have gone in the other order. I'm going to just back up. We're just going to wait. Okay, so our boss creature here is taking a bunch of damage and appears to be dying, which is what we want to see. I'm just going to keep backing up here. I will be occasionally summoning ants. He is taking damage. So as long as he just keeps taking damage, we should be okay. Should be okay. Keyword here is should be. I can hit him. I can also shoot stuff if I'm close enough because my staffs do have long-ranged attacks. What is this? This is the Beast Visage. So if chest armor is empty, plus 15 to all resistances. Ooh. On attack, if chest armor is empty, apply Berserk. That's more of a, like, the sort of thing that you would do in like, more of a melee class. On dealing psychic damage, on step, apply Inflame to yourself per attack plus... Ooh, I think we could probably throw those on. Although, we are very encumbered, so maybe I don't actually want that. Let's just jump over to this and grab you, because it does give us a little bit better resistances and isn't going to encumber us as much. I might actually want to put some points into strength, but we are going to move... I think to the top one. A pair of leggings from the Temple of Ice, and a dagger dripping with acid against some enemies that aren't too strong against us. And we can also check this here. So we currently have 19. So I just need to level up this, this, or this, and we're good to go. So I just need 3 more experience points, essentially. Everything on the map dies, and everything on the map continues to die. So I mostly just need to watch my... HP up here. Also, we have experience underneath here, and worth noting, you unlock these as you gain experience. This is your experience, and that's also how you unlock characters and the other cycles. So once we finish a few more maps here, we should optimally end up with all of our builds here. We've got 2 points to spend. I need 4 points to spend so that we can get the funny portion of this build, and then I can truly show you what I'm talking about when I say that this build is goofy beyond all reason. All right. I'm applying Berserk and Inflame to myself. Summon some more Ant Familiars, and there we go. Because I just get 1 charge of that per level. Undealing ice damage, deal 50% of it as fire. Well, that's not useful to us. On attack, apply 2 corrosion. That could be useful. But I think we're just going to move on because we're not a very gear-focused build. So you gaze upon a lapis gate. You sense a forbidden place. You smell a decaying star. You find a glittering orange scythe and a pair of fire-enchanted gloves, a robe worn by monks of a mysterious psychic order, and a mace wielded by a mind hunter. I'm not going to go there because I'm a little bit worried we're just going to die, and we don't actually know what we get to fight in that location. So instead, we're going to just kind of keep doing what I've been doing until we get our big upgrade, which will be in a level, which is going to be pretty soon. So we just need to clear 1 or 2 more floors. One other thing I would like to note for the more savvy-minded of you, this game does run in Godot, meaning it is not a Unity game, and it is running on open source engine tech, meaning it's worth checking out on that merit alone, in my mind. All right, so right at the start here, I'm going to grab some extra Ant Familiars. I'm going to continue leveling up my willpower, and we're just going to grab this gear, and we've leveled up, meaning I can level up. Oh boy, let's go with the Gore Cult. That's what we're going to do, which applies bleed to myself and apply bleed to a random enemy. Now we got our prestige class, and our prestige class is Hysterical. So this is the Liturgist. The Liturgist grants 1 charge to each known prayer on entrance, okay? So this makes my prayers more effective and easier to acquire. And then on prayer, allied priests gain +5 speed and 100 hit, okay? And then on summoning a priest, if enemies live, summon a worshiper familiar for each different cult power you've learned. Worshippers are devoted servants that attack with simple daggers. Summoned familiars gained extra life and hit from your glory and are not limited by your willpower. So, we are now a cult leader. Welcome to my cult. And this is what happens. And that's this just goofy beyond all reason build. welcome to Path of Achra. If you haven't tried this game, it's pretty good. A run for this normally takes about an hour and a half. I haven't actually finished the game using this particular build yet because it took too long. I can absolutely see why this build needs to be reworked slightly because, honestly, it is beyond silly. Let's go to one of the forbidden places. It is beyond silly because of how long it takes. But just to kind of as an opportunity to show off the craziness that you can get up to in this game with its builds. If you go watch some of my previous videos, you'll see stuff like crawl, like just very like berserker style builds where you'll be meleeing units to death. And then there's also just these absurd summon builds, which are just incredible. So now I can just power everybody up and, you know, summon more familiars and just wait, do a bunch of death damage to everything and finish everything off. If I'm not doing the death damage, which is waiting, then I'm wasting time basically. So I'm gonna power all my dudes up by pressing 2, and then wait a turn, which damages everything, which does the death damage, which gets that rolling, and then the enemies die, and the map is done, and we can move forward. It's a very, very simple system. This is kind of one of those easy mode builds that, like, I'm definitely not representative of every single build in the game because of how ridiculous it is, but I love that this is literally the broken build sandbox, the video game roguelike. If you, like, enjoy playing action RPGs, if you enjoy playing, you know, games that are all just about creating cool builds, this is that condensed into a hour to 2 hour long run of a satisfying, varied, interesting roguelike with hundreds of combinations, if not thousands of combinations of spells. The Argmethrium squeals, blurred figures march. And I'm not even joking when I say that the developer of this game is an artist. I'm going to have to back up here because there's a dude right in front of me. Power all my guys up, take the level up, start casting death damage. I'm actually going to walk away from this thing. I'm going to do a bunch of damage, use death damage, wait again, do a bunch more death damage, and move this way, and we're dead because he actually caught up with us. Well, I was going to end the video after that, but that's actually a fitting end. So thank you very much for watching this video on the Path of Achra. I think that this game is extraordinarily cool and just an extremely satisfying build sandbox. You know, the goal of the game is to go from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen in the overworld. We got about halfway through that, and definitely give this game a look if this is something that interests you. And if you'd like to support this channel and the stuff that I do directly, you can do that via my Patreon or by simply watching these YouTube videos or checking out my Twitch streams at twitch.tv/BLINDIRL. This is an absurd build that my poor positioning got me killed for. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.